Yo, what is going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video talking about why you need to buy Litecoin right now. So basically, I'm just going to break down a bunch of stuff about Litecoin that I've seen and that are looking good for the future of not only this year, but for many years to come. So basically, let's just start out with the combined here, Bitcoin and Litecoin, because the crypto market, like I said before, I think the number one thing that has to happen to help everything succeed is that adoption needs to take place. Companies need to be willing to use crypto, either using it to, pay their taxes. Like there's a company, Overstock, they have announced that they're going to pay their taxes in Bitcoin. So not only that, but I think Ohio said they were going to accept businesses to pay their taxes in Bitcoin. So steps are being taken to the right place to kind of let people just choose whether or not they want to use it. You don't have to pay with Bitcoin, but people are going to let you do it. So that's good for the entire market all around. And the physical things that are popping up like ATMs, basically it's Bitcoin and Litecoin ATMs. Those are the two coins on them. You can go to those ATMs. You can withdraw, cash, which would in turn be selling your Litecoin, or Bitcoin, selling it for the whatever it's worth at that time. You get the money for it, you get the cash, and then you can go and buy whatever you want with it. If you're at a mall, I think one popped up in a mall. If you need cash for something, you go there and you want to buy with crypto, you got to get the cash for it, you go to the ATM. But this video is going to break it down a lot deeper, go a lot deeper in detail with how, Litecoin works and what I think, like why it's going to be a great coin to be in, and the price right now, we can check it right now. Live, recording this right now, it is $35.21. So up a lot. Literally, it's up, let's just see the percentage. It's up almost 11.5% just today. So that's insane numbers. And we've been seeing this run happen for kind of the last month, where Bitcoin went up a good amount, like nearing like $800, and it's kind of leveling off there. Whereas Litecoin has gone up and, leveled up and gone up and leveled up and gone up. And it's good to see that. So Litecoin is really looking good in comparison when you compare other coins, like percentage-wise and how everything's looking. But if you look at last year when people were all excited about crypto, even though when the prices started coming down, I guess you could say like regular people, no like big companies or big brands were getting involved into it, but there was $24 billion of institutional money brought into the market. And that is just like that type of money slowly entering. So 24 billion is them slowly entering, is a ton of money coming in. But seeing them come into the market is reaffirming that they, want to be in this space and they see a future for it. People with a lot of money that are coming into this space are probably here for a longer term and not looking for, a 6-month turnaround or something like that. If you look at like statistics or stats of, well, not really stats, but like the numbers of Litecoin compared to Bitcoin, when you're talking value, everyone says it's undervalued, and I agree. I think Litecoin is super undervalued, especially compared to Bitcoin, because basically I think it's an upgraded version of Bitcoin. The only difference between the two, like a huge major difference, is the amount available. So Bitcoin is capped off at 21 million, and there's already like 17 or almost 18 million coins already in circulation. So there's only 3 million, roughly around there, maybe a little bit more than that, available to, be mined and stuff like that. With the halvings coming up too, it's just going to get harder and harder to mine these coins, and eventually it's probably going to cost more to mine them than just buy them. So what's going to end up happening with any coin that does that is, I think the price starts to kind of go up because, you can't just get them. I mean, you say for free, but you can't just mine them. So, but if you look at Litecoin to Bitcoin, Litecoin is 37 times less of the market cap than Bitcoin is, and that's what makes it super undervalued. Like Bitcoin is at like almost $70 billion, or it's like 63 billion dollars, and Litecoin's at like 2 billion. And the reason, for that is the price and the amount of coins out, and how long and stuff. But Bitcoin has been out, I think it just had its like 10-year anniversary, and Litecoin's been out, I think, 7 years. So it's continues to be on this, it's on like the same type of path as Bitcoin. Bitcoin saw success, and then it came back down, and then it really skyrocketed. So if Litecoin followed that same path, which it seems like it hasn't, we've seen Litecoin, come out staying relatively low. It boomed up to like $500 or $600, and then it came back down to here. So maybe we could be seeing a little bit of a skyrocket come in the future. Not only that, I think the market is going to be better off, well prepared for crypto than it was when Bitcoin was kind of in its 7th year. And another big thing with Litecoin, it's halving is actually in August of this year. It's August of 2019. I don't know the exact date, but the halving is going to happen for Litecoin, and that's going to make it harder to mine. It's going to make it harder to get for free. It's not really free because you're paying for the mining stuff and the power and all that to mine, but it's going to be harder to mine. It's going to be a lot more people trading it on the market or using it to buy stuff, and you're going to see a lot more, volume in it. Already, Litecoin volume sometimes passes Bitcoin volume. So, because it's the coin, it's so much easier to send back and forth, and it's so much cheaper to do that. So a lot of people use Litecoin for that exact reason, which is why a lot of people want to find a way to get Litecoin involved in like spending and buying stuff, because it is easy and cheap to send. And a big difference that separates Litecoin from any other coin is there's someone behind it who founded it, who created it, who is not involved in the coin but still cares to see it succeed and to kind of make sure that it's on the right path. So with that's Charlie Lee. A lot of people hated that he got out and that he sold his Litecoin and got rid of it because of his conflict of interest. He didn't want that to end up being a conflict of interest. So I think at the time, I didn't really like the idea of him doing that, but now I think I can fully understand it, that he wanted to take himself out of it and make Litecoin self-sustainable, its own ecosystem, with no one controlling it. So, like, if you look at other coins like Ripple, the CEO, developer, founder, creator of Ripple, he has so much Ripple in his, that he just owns that's not on the market. It doesn't count for any of the numbers. So the circulating amount of Ripple doesn't take into account what he has, stored up. So if he was to take what he has stored up and sell it, it would devastate Ripple. It would literally knock them out. They would be worthless, and it would just destroy Ripple. So that person, although he has all that Ripple, there's really nothing he can do with it. So Charlie Lee kind of having an interest in the Litecoin Foundation and in how he wants to see it implemented and improved and make sure it's the best, because he did create this. This is his, brand idea, his coin, and he doesn't want to see it, flop or die or just not succeed. So him, even though selling it, a lot of people hated it, I think it was an all right move. I think it made a lot of sense to kind of form Litecoin's own little system, just like Bitcoin has. Nobody's behind Bitcoin. There's no face to the creator. No one knows who created Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. But with Litecoin, it's just like that scenario, except people know who Charlie Lee is, but he's not directly involved anymore. He doesn't have a million Litecoin, So it just helps that he still cares. He's still pushing it. He's still, talking about it on Twitter, tweets about it. The big thing was the UFC partnership when they were on the mat and announced, and UFC, don't know what the number was, but the UFC fight that just recently happened. And with that, it's just continuing to expose or grant exposure to Litecoin, get people involved, get people knowing the name, have them looking at it, see if they want to get involved. I think it just brings a lot of attention to it, which is always a good thing. Getting more people and more eyes on Litecoin, always going to be a good thing. And finally, for the last part of this video of why you need to buy Litecoin right now, we're going to compare Litecoin to the stock market, basically to companies on the stock market. So if you look at Apple, we're going to take Apple and compare it because of what just happened with them. I know that they were the first company to reach a worth of $1 trillion. That was about a month ago, a little bit more than a month maybe, but they recently lost a ton of it. They went from worth $1 trillion market cap, and they're around $700 billion now. So they lost $300 billion in market cap because of moves that people either didn't agree with or people thought was going to affect how the business ran or how much money the business made, or how the revenue was going to look. The revenue report, a lot of people care about that, and it reflects on how the company is doing. So obviously it's going to affect the stock price. So when you look at this type of information and see that within that month, within maybe even give them 2 months, Apple lost $300 billion, and no one's really talking about it. I mean, it's up there and stuff, and maybe some people talk about it, but no one's really like, wow, like, Apple's, they got this money and they kind of just lost it. They first company hit $100 trillion market cap, and then they come all the way back down to $700 billion. So when you compare that to a market like a crypto market with Litecoin, Bitcoin, but specifically just talking about Litecoin in this video because of the price and how you can get in now and hold it for a while. It's not that expensive right now, like we covered in the beginning of this video. But Litecoin compared to that, I have some numbers here. So if you have Litecoin be worth $1,000, and the max supply of Litecoin is like 81 million, I think, somewhere around there. But if you have, okay, so the max supply is like 81 million. The current circulating supply is like 60 million. It's like 59.3 or 59.7 million, somewhere around there. But if you had Litecoin be worth $1,000 with 70 million coins in circulation, so almost max, that would bring about a $70 billion market cap. So still nowhere near, the worth of Apple in general, but again, nowhere near the amount of money they lost. The $300 billion that they lost because of, market figures, revenue reports, people's opinion on where the company's heading or what they think is going to happen with like how the company's acting and stuff. But that doesn't translate to a crypto market. It doesn't go to Litecoin. With Litecoin, it's sound money for the world. There's no company behind it where if you don't agree with what they're doing, you're kind of like going to stay away from that. There's no revenue report. There's a volume of how much is being traded back and forth. Not being traded, even traded or sent between wallets and stuff and all this type of stuff. That's the only thing on there, and that's not really going to affect the price, because when you see crypto and stuff and money, you can assume a lot of people are probably holding it, especially if it was 70 million coins out and nearing the max. There's probably a lot of people who are holding it, but there's no numbers like that. There's no company behind it that is making decisions that are going to affect how it's going to be played out. It's money. Litecoin is money. It's digital currency. So there's one thing that it's just going to be there. There's no decisions that are going to be made that are going to affect it. There's nothing that's going to happen where if one person says we're doing this way in a company in Apple. If Tim Cook decided, you know what, we're not selling iPhones anymore, the stock would probably plummet. People wouldn't support that. People would be afraid that Apple isn't going to be able to make money. And if Apple's not making money, then the stock price is going to be affected and all this different type of stuff. But there's nothing like that in Litecoin. It said Litecoin is a digital currency. It is money. And if you just look at like a company like Apple, I'm sure everybody knows Apple's super successful, has a bunch of money, has a lot of cash. They have, I think, around circulating cash, I think they have like 200 or 300 billion dollars that they have in cash that they can do whatever they want with. So if you think about that much money and they lost 300 billion in about 2 months, Litecoin, even with its big loss, it didn't lose anywhere near 300 billion. And if you put into perspective of that big amount of money and Litecoin being worth $1,000, it would be a huge leap for Litecoin right now to do $1,000. But at 1,000, it's only 70 billion. So it's almost, it's less than a third of what Apple lost in 2 months. So just think about that. These are a bunch of reasons why you need to buy Litecoin right now. Like the price, we can look at it one more time. It went down a little bit. It's $34.92 right now. I'm sure if I get a picture, it's going to be a different price than that. But guys, what you guys think? Do you think you want to be in Litecoin? Are you in Litecoin? Or do you want to get out of Litecoin and you just want to sell it either when it starts going back up, or you want to sell it now and take your loss if you have one? Or what are your thoughts on Litecoin? So guys, as always, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. I love support. Really helps the channel grow. And I'll see you guys in my next video.